Ciao a tutti people, and you've landed yourself into a magical mystery here. I lied, that's not a magical mystery, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to be educating you guys about EMI. Well, if you don't know who the EMI is, you're going to learn something new today. EMI was a music company based in London and New York, and it was in charge of a record label, EMI Music. EMI comes under the big four record labels, and it was first established in 1931 under the name Electric and Music Industries, and it also acquired Capitol Records, an American record label, in 1957. During the Second World War, the factory returned in producing munitions and domestic radio receivers before being bombed in July 1944. The factory started producing records made of vinyl instead of shellac-based compounds that were used beforehand for artists and bands such as the Rolling Stones, Cliff Richard and Pink Floyd. Right, so what happened before and after 1957? In the 50s, EMI signed artists including Adam Faith, Shirley Bassey, Frankie Vaughan, Max Bygraves and Alma Cogan, who all went on to have successful careers and were pioneers of the British pop explosion. The most prosperous of them all was Cliff Richard. After EMI published Cliff Richard's debut album, Move It, in 1958, he went on to become one of the most popular and iconic artists in British pop music. The 1950s saw British pop music grow. In the 60s, it exploded, and EMI was right at the forefront, not least due to a new band that was just signed to the company's Parlophone label. Now, have a guess who I'm on about. I'll give you like a few seconds for this. Now, if you said the Beach Boys, you're completely wrong, man. How could you say the Beach Boys? It is in fact the Beatles, like the biggest boy band ever. Now, if you did get the Beatles as your answer, you come under the 98% of everyone who has probably watched this video. Anyway, as we're talking about the Beatles' first single, Love Me Do, only reached number 17 in the UK chart, and it didn't take British record buyers long to realise what they were missing on. The Beatles practically blew up as many of their famous songs, such as I Want to Hold Your Hand or From Me to You, made it into the UK charts. Obviously there are more, but can't be doing a 10-minute video because you guys would get bored. Also, did you know in 1 year, 1963, EMI releases accounted for 15 out of 19 number one singles? That is just amazing, don't you think? That's over I don't even know what percentage. I haven't done maths in ages, but that's a lot, man. Anyway, in the 1970s and 80s, EMI continued to dominate the music industry. However, the company also faced challenges, particularly with the rise of digital technology and decline of physical record sales. Basically, other things were invented and people just not stopped, but there was a huge decrease in people buying records, which I think is sad because who doesn't like records? Just the look of them are amazing. Anyway, recently in 2012, EMI announced the closure of its factory in Hayes. This was a major blow to the community and the music industry, marking the end of an era. This documentary has explored the history of EMI and Hayes, a company that had the lasting impact on the music industry and the town. From the early days of record production to the challenges of digital technology, EMI's story is one of innovation, creativity and enduring legacy.